There is a silence that follows heartbreak, a silence heavier than any scream, louder than any goodbye. It does not announce itself with chaos, but with absence, the kind that lingers in empty chairs, quiet phones, and the places where laughter used to live. You are not weak for feeling it. You are not broken for remembering. Heartbreak does not mean the end of love. It means love dared to reach and someone let go. But within that collapse there is something sacred, the chance to begin again. Not by forgetting, not by erasing, but by slowly reclaiming every shattered piece of yourself. This is not the end. This is the turning point. The silence after the storm when the heart breaks. It doesn't always do so with thunder. It doesn't always fall apart in the middle of a fight or during a loud farewell. No, sometimes it ends in silence, a quiet that feels like it could swallow you whole. The storm passes, the tears dry, the door closes, and then comes the stillness. You sit with the ghosts of words that were never said, the weight of love that had nowhere left to go. You listen for footsteps that will never return, replay moments that can no longer be touched, and reach for someone who stopped reaching back. And in that quiet you begin to realize something. This is not just the absence of them, it's the return of you. The silence after the storm is not your punishment, it's your reckoning. It is where truth walks in uninvited. It is where the illusions begin to fade and reality, cold and clear, takes its place. You see, heartbreak doesn't always destroy you with force. Sometimes it simply removes the noise so you can finally hear what's been buried beneath all along. Your longing, your wounds, your loyalty, your hope, all of it, laid bare in the silence. It's not comfortable, it's not kind, but it is necessary, because no one ever healed while the chaos was still spinning. No one ever truly found peace while they were begging to be loved in return. And so, the silence may feel like abandonment, but in truth, it's an invitation to sit with yourself, to confront what remains after someone else walks away, to understand that their leaving does not erase the love you gave, nor does it mean your story is over. Their absence, painful as it is, creates a clearing, and in that space you get to ask the questions that matter. Who am I without them? What did I give that they never saw? And what do I now owe myself? The storm raged, yes. It tore through your spirit, knocked the breath from your lungs, and left you aching in places no one else can see. But now you are standing in the aftermath, and that matters. You survived the collapse, and what comes next is not about pretending it didn't hurt. It's about learning how to live with the scar and still call yourself whole. The silence will teach you, slowly, brutally, beautifully. It will tell you when to grieve, when to let go, and eventually, when to open the window again, not to bring the past back in, but to let new air touch a part of you that forgot how to breathe. You are not empty, you are not lost, you are simply in the space between what was and what can be. The silence after the storm is not the end, it is the sacred beginning. Memory is not the enemy. We treat memory like a thief, as if remembering the past will steal our future, as if every glance backward is a betrayal of healing. But memory in its raw and unfiltered form is not your enemy, it is your witness. It saw you when you loved with everything you had. It stood by as you gave more than was asked. It remembers not just the pain, but the effort, the honesty, the nights you stayed, when walking away would have been easier. So why are you trying to silence it? Why are you at war with something that simply wants to remind you of who you were before the world asked you to forget? Yes, memory can hurt. It can appear at the worst times, uninvited and unrelenting, a smell, a song, a laugh that sounds almost like theirs, and suddenly you're back in a moment that no longer belongs to you. But what if the goal isn't to erase that moment? What if healing isn't about pretending it never happened, but about learning how to stand in that memory and not collapse under its weight? You don't have to destroy your past to rebuild your future. You only have to change how you carry it. There is a reason your heart clings to the good times even after everything falls apart. It's because what you felt was real, even if what they gave was temporary. Your love was not a mistake. Your trust was not foolish. Your memory is not your weakness. It is proof that you were capable of feeling deeply, even when the outcome was uncertain. That kind of courage deserves respect, not shame. Do not let the ending rewrite the whole story. You are allowed to remember and still move forward. You are allowed to smile at a memory without wanting it back. And you are allowed to cry, not because you want to return, but because part of you needed to remember how deeply you once cared. The world tells you to forget, to numb, to distract. But the soul doesn't heal through erasure. It heals through acknowledgement. It heals when you stop running, when you sit with your past, not to live in it, but to learn from it. Memory holds the mirror up to who you were, so you can better understand who you are becoming. Every scar, every echo, every pang of nostalgia, it's all part of your transformation. You are not broken because you remember. You are breaking free because you no longer fear what the memory holds, so let the memories come. Let them teach you. Let them show you the moments you stayed strong, even when you felt weak. Let them remind you that love, real love, is never wasted, even if it wasn't returned the way you deserved. You are not the sum of someone else's choices. You are the author of what comes next. And memory is just the ink that reminds you the story isn't finished. You are not what they couldn't love. It's one of the cruelest wounds of the heart. The quiet belief that if someone couldn't love us, then something must be wrong with us. We wear their rejection like a label. We carry their silence like a sentence, and slowly we begin to wonder if we were ever enough. But here is a truth the heart must learn before it can truly heal. You are not what they couldn't love. Their inability to cherish you, to stay, to see you for who you are, it says more about their limits than your worth. It is not a reflection of your value, but of their capacity, and that distinction, that single shift in understanding, can be the beginning of your freedom. You gave love the way it was meant to be given, not as a transaction, but as a truth. You showed up with open hands and a whole heart. You were present, you were honest, you were willing, and maybe, just maybe, they weren't ready for that. Maybe they couldn't meet you there, not because you were too much, but because they were never prepared to receive something that real. Some people are drawn to light, but they're afraid of warmth. They get close enough to feel it, then back away before it melts the walls they've built. And so they leave, and you're left questioning yourself, rewriting your reflection in the image of their absence. But listen closely now. You are not hard to love. You are not unworthy or too emotional or too deep. You are simply someone who loved without holding back. And that is a rare kind of strength in a world that often confuses distance with power. Do not let one person's blindness make you doubt your vision. Do not let their silence drown out your voice. They walked away. That is their story. But you stayed true. That is yours. And that matters more than you know. The heartache you feel now is not because you were unlovable. It's because you dared to love where love was not returned. That's not weakness. That's bravery. The kind that leaves a scar, yes, but also the kind that builds the deepest resilience. You are not the hole they left behind. You are the soul that kept standing after they were gone. And the right people, the ones with eyes to see, hearts to feel, and courage to stay, they will not make you question your worth. They will recognize it, they will protect it, and they will never ask you to shrink to fit their comfort. So no, you are not what they couldn't love. You are what remains after they failed to see clearly. And in time you will learn this. Real love will never ask you to become less. It will only ask you to be exactly who you are, and nothing less than that will ever be enough for you again. Let the wound breathe. We're taught to hide our pain, to cover it up with smiles, to keep moving, keep working, keep pretending that nothing happened. because showing pain, they say, is weakness. But what they don't tell you is this: wounds that are never exposed to light don't heal. They fester. Hurt that is buried alive does not die, it waits. Waits for quiet moments, lonely nights, or kind voices to rise again from the shadows. So if you want to heal, truly heal, you must begin with the courage to let the wound breathe. This isn't about wallowing. It's not about drowning in sorrow or reliving every ache. It's about facing what's there raw, unfiltered, and often inconvenient. Heartbreak isn't polite. It doesn't wait until the weekend. It shows up when your hands are full, when your days are scheduled, when you think you've moved on, and suddenly it hits you. The ache in your chest, the flash of a memory, the sting of something that once felt like home. That's not regression, that's honesty, and it deserves your attention, not your suppression. You can't numb the pain without also numbing the lessons. You can't rush your way out of heartbreak without losing parts of yourself along the way. So stop apologizing for needing time. Stop feeling ashamed for still hurting. You loved, you lost, and now you're learning how to breathe in a world that feels unfamiliar without them. That process, messy, slow, sacred, is not weakness. It's transformation, and it begins the moment you stop running from the wound and start listening to what it's asking of you. Let yourself cry when you need to. Let yourself rest without guilt. Let yourself say, "I'm not okay today," and mean it. Healing doesn't ask for perfection. It asks for permission. Permission to be real. Permission to feel without judgment. Permission to take the pressure off and simply exist, even if all you can manage is surviving this hour, this minute, this breath. You are not broken because you are in pain. You are healing because you are allowing yourself to feel it. The wound may still be open, but every tear, every reflection, every quiet moment of truth is fresh air for your soul. You are not weak for being human. You are brave for not pretending to be anything else. And when the time comes, and it will, you'll find yourself standing in the same place that once held your grief. But it will feel different. Lighter, softer, as if something sacred passed through and changed everything it touched. That's the quiet miracle of healing. It never shouts, but one day you wake up and realize the wound still exists, but it no longer defines you. You let it breathe, and in return it set you free. Peace is quieter than passion. We spend so much of our lives chasing the noise, the thrill, the fire, the passion that consumes us, convinces us we're alive, even when it burns. We confuse chaos with intensity, unpredictability with depth, and drama with love. But when the heart has been broken enough times, when the soul has known the ache of false promises and the silence of fading affection, something within you begins to change. You stop chasing the roar. You start listening for the whisper. Because in the aftermath of heartbreak, when the dust has settled and the world is still, you come to understand a quiet truth. Peace is quieter than passion, and infinitely more powerful. It doesn't announce itself like fireworks. It doesn't flood your veins with adrenaline. It comes like dawn, soft, slow, and certain. Peace doesn't need to prove anything. It doesn't demand attention. It simply is. And when you finally taste it, after all the noise, it feels almost unfamiliar. You sit in a room without tension, and your body doesn't know how to relax. You speak with someone who listens gently, and your heart wonders if it's real. You feel calm, and instead of comfort, you question whether you've settled for something less. But you haven't. You've grown. Peace is not the absence of love. It is the presence of safety. It's someone choosing you without games. It's your own soul no longer begging for validation. It's waking up without fear. It's no longer mistaking emotional roller coasters for proof of connection. Passion may come and go like a storm, but peace builds a home, one where you don't have to fight to be seen, one where love is steady, not loud, gentle, not performative, and true not because it shouts the loudest, but because it stays the longest. When you've healed, you'll begin to crave that stillness, You'll stop searching for hearts that keep you on edge. You'll start valuing the kind of love that doesn't need to be chased, the kind that doesn't trigger survival mode. You'll begin to understand that peace isn't boring, it's rare. It's what the broken heart longs for beneath the surface. It's what remains after all the illusions have faded. It's the reward for choosing growth over revenge, for choosing solitude over settling, for choosing yourself when no one else did. And here's the quiet triumph in all of it. You won't need the world to notice. You won't need applause or explanation, because peace does not seek attention. It simply fills the spaces where pain used to live, and once you feel it, truly feel it, you'll never trade it for noise again. You will protect it, you will guard it, and most of all you will know you've healed, not because someone came back, but because you no longer wait for them to.